Hey everybody, I'm Doug. I'm going to be the storyteller, and I'd like to introduce you to...
Xylus. I will be playing Charlie Allsun.
Hi, I'm Michael, and I'll be portraying Hannibal Wagner.
Okay, let's get into it. It's the next night for Charlie Allsun. Last night, you found out that you were being exiled from the prince's domain. You went home with Helen, and rather than have intense conversations, it was rather hectic and mundane because you realized that you had to uproot your entire life and move from one side of the city to the other. Helen, of course, helped you, pulling in several mortal servants that she has under her thrall. They made plans, reached out, acquired you a new place, and have arranged for your things to move. Then you went to bed, or to torpor, to that eternal sleep that all vampires have when the sun rises. It was the next night when you woke up, after seeing too many affairs, because moving for in such a quick manner takes a lot of things, and in addition to that, you had to keep up mortal pretenses by having a quick cup of coffee with your ex-wife and friend. You guys chit-chatted over a little bit, but you probably excused yourself, I would imagine, because there's many things for you to do. You find yourself driving across the Fairlight Bridge, the largest bridge in all of the city. It has a vast, a very tall, soaring arch attached to the iron tethers that suspend the bridge up and keep it up. It's quite beautiful during the day. At night, it has turned rather ominous, because when you woke up from your torpid slumber, a storm had come in, as they are frequently in this area, and you're driving in a rather casual pace, I would imagine, keeping with traffic laws and that sort of thing, as Charlie would probably do. Heavy rain has set in, and you looked behind you and saw a set of lights following you. There's many lights on the freeway, mind you, but these lights seem to be changing lanes when you change lanes, and keeping a set distance behind you. You recall the words of Helen before you had parted ways last night, that there would undoubtedly be many in the city who would take a chance at getting back at her by taking a stab at her now unprotected childer. Trying to get off the freeway in a place that heads to a place of more protection. You're not terribly familiar with the entire part of the city. You're used to traveling across it, of course, for work. St. Peregrine's Hospital is the closest destination to you, but you don't often stop in the neighborhoods. So you get off at an exit, your eyes fixed in the rearview mirror, watching the car as it's pacing you. And all of a sudden, as you exit off of the off-ramp into the city street, a car swings past those sets of lights and smashes into the front of the front end of your car, sending the car in a pinwheel fashion launching it almost into the air as it lands and skids and crashes into a large dumpster on the side of the road. You're a safe driver. You have an airbag and a seatbelt, so you don't sustain too much damage, luckily, because it is a safe car that you are driving. You get out into the street. You're standing there. You see the car that had hit you. You do not see the lights now. The dizzying spin, the reeling from the crash has kind of caused you to lose track of those small details, even though they were so poignant in your mind before. Out of the car, which is the front end is wrecked as well, comes 4 individuals dressed in just very simple black clothings with tactical vests. The one who is behind the wheel is clutching his head. Apparently, he was not driving so safely. He was not having his seatbelt on. And then behind them, a van pulls up. You're standing outside your car on a barren street in an unfamiliar part of town. It is late at night, and this is not a part of town that is known for its safety in the shadows of its alleyways and streets. You see, off in the distance, the rows of buildings beginning probably about a block away. Right next to you, behind you, is a very large building with a gate, a very tall gate on the sides of it as it goes down the street. That looks like it's leads to some sort of courtyard. The building itself has it says Gym, Harold's Gym. You see the doors are open, and it says open 24 hours. The lights are kind of, there's lights in the hallway inside of it. Down both other ends, underneath the bridge, you would have to go past the cars. Down the alleyway leads to darkness. What do you do?
How long does the alleyway look before it turns in either direction?
It looks like it follows the course of the freeway, like as far as the angle of it, and it looks like it's quite a big distance. On the side opposite of the street you're in, there's kind of like a flat field that dips down into a drainage ditch, where it rises up again to the on-ramp. And looking on that side of the road, there's just that field continues. The building that you're on your side of the street, right next to the alley, right, is the building continues on in sort of flat frames. You see the large windows that are rather high up. They're like skylight, not skylight, but like, you know, the type of windows that are at the top of buildings are very long and large, allow sunlight through. That like a gym or a stadium would have, I guess. The building's very tall. It's like 4 stories. And then probably about, let's say 100 feet, 120 feet. It's hard to tell because of the darkness. The gate begins again. So it looks like you're facing the corner of the building, right? And on the opposite side is a like courtyards, like tennis courtyards or something like that. You can barely kind of make out that there's space in there, and there's like the flat green exterior of the astroturf or whatever it is, the little rubbery substance that they have at the bottom of those courtyards.
So I'll go into the building.
Okay. So as you turn and run in, right, and the individuals who were getting out of the car were still kind of sorting themselves out when you're able to get in through the doors. You close.
Yeah,
the doors
but they're
when
wearing tactical vests. I'm not no.
Yeah,
Nobody gets into a car accident with tactical vests unless they are planning something.
Yeah. You speed through the door. You're looking at a long hallway that runs parallel with the wall, the outside wall, right? And there's large doors that lead all the way down to different, like double doors that you would see going into a basketball stadium or something like that. And there's the hallway goes the opposite way along the other side of the wall, and again you see those double doors kind of. Okay. Down at the end of the hall, you see a like locker room sign, like like indication locker rooms here. It's like kind of like a little green sign that's kind of suspended from the ceiling.
Okay. Are there any people here?
No, it seems rather empty actually. The lights inside the stadium, or sorry, you can see the lights through the little double door windows, and they're turned off. It looks to be kind of a place where people come in. You see actually that this place probably isn't frequented very much at night. There's the over etched, or there's like paint covering graffiti, like on the interior of the building. The place is kind of trashed. There's like garbage and things like that. You don't hear any machines from janitors or cleaning crew.
Okay. Is there an office nearby?
You do see a front desk sort of thing. It's has like sort of a security window. It's like a little tiny room that is barely large enough to hold two people. It has a little secured door on it. It's empty currently. The computer looks like it's on some sort of like screensaver. Like it's.
Is there a phone in there?
Yeah.
How close are the guys outside?
They look like they're running in. The van that pulled up behind him is now stopped, and you see a door opening up with more individuals, though it's hard to tell how many, because they're kind of like to get out, and then they're like talking with each other. You see them pointing inside the building at your thing. As you peek your head out, you notice one of them raise a pistol and shoot. With a clack.
Towards me?
Yeah, through the window, like barely missing you, of course. Just like clack, causing you to kind of
okay.
Like,
yeah, no time to run.
Yeah.
So there's got to be an exit door somewhere. So I'm just gonna take the nearest one that opens up into whatever room, and I'll figure out where to go from there.
Okay, so you run down the hallway. You hear behind you. You run down the hallway and you find down one hallway. There's like it looks like it leads around into the back into the basketball gym. It doesn't it just kind of stops, and then like you see doors, like a big set of doors. You don't see any exterior escapes or like fire doors or anything like that on this side of the building. The lock down to the locker rooms and bathroom area. It looks like the hallway turns around, or turns the corner. So.
Okay.
So which side do you go? Do you want to?
Does it look like there's an exit in it? An emergency exit in the basketball court area?
You look through the basketball court area. You see on the far distant side. Now the basketball court is quite large. It's actually like 3 sets of basketball courts with a sort of a median in between where they have seats. But you do see on the far side of the building, yes, there are fire exits.
I'm bolting.
Okay, so you go through the basketball court and you start sprinting across.
If there's a fire alarm along the way, I'll set that off too.
Okay, so you're gonna set the fire alarm. Okay, so you run through and
I'll break it too so that it sets off the water.
Yeah. Well, you set the fire alarm off. You don't. The sprinklers take a minute to engage. They doesn't seem to have the best fire safety thing, but like as you cross into the middle one, you noticed as you went into the thing, and you just about when you hit the fire alarm, you did hear them entering the building themselves, so they were like right behind you. You go into the basketball court, and you manage to get into the center court when you notice guys coming through the sides of the door, right? So entering into the same court as you, and then there was some people entering into the one in front of you, because they had split up. There's like 2 entering from your side, 2 entering from the top or from in front of you, and then 4 entering from behind. And you're standing there in the court. You're in a pretty thing. Like, they seem to be raising their weapons, right? In a threatening manner. They haven't necessarily, and like the 2 who are off to the side, he's like, over here.
Is there one kind of off by himself?
You think that if you're quick enough, you could probably jump on one of the ones off to the side of you, because he kind of ran in and then spotted you, and he's probably about maybe 15 feet away when you came out, and you guys kind of saw each other. But you could probably jump him.
Yeah, is it possible for me to use one of my powers of the blood?
Absolutely.
I would like to use Cloud Memory and take his weapon.
Okay. So you reach your hands out, right? Because you're still kind of like, it's kind of a tuning thing, and you're like, give me your weapon, right? Or something similar to that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you reach out, and using the powers of your mind, you draw upon your beast. You feel the hunger turn into a sense of pleasure at invading a person to their core and making them do what you want. There's a rush that enters you that you have been taught to control, so you're fairly sure you can. And he stops and tosses his weapon towards you.
I will take the weapon.
Mm-hmm. You notice the others, like right as you grab the weapon, you notice the others, like they're going to see you, and they probably are. You're sensing that moment where like you're about ready to get into danger.
Yeah. So do they have tactical lights on these weapons, or?
Yeah, you see, basically the gun he has is just a essentially it's just a rifle. Like,
and we are in a dark room, right?
Yeah, the room is not very well lit.
Okay, so I would like to take this moment to point the light and the gun at him,
mm-hmm.
and say, "There he is! Light him up!"
Okay, so you point the gun at him, and you start. Are you firing, or are you just?
I'll fire around, but I will miss him intentionally.
Okay, so you fire around, right? Everybody looks around and like, what? And you now you see that there's other the full breadth of how many individuals have entered the room. There's behind the what did I say, 4 that came in behind you. 2 more had come in that time period where you had taken the gun, because they're running. They're going full sprint, and they all kind of centered their gaze like into the center courtyard where they heard the noise. So they're like tracking targets. They all seem to be looking around, and then all of a sudden the lights go out as you fire your shot. It's as though the bullet had hit whatever light source it is, but it had not, in fact. It had just gone right over him, right? But the lights above lights is... And now there's panic has set in because they were trying to track a target. They didn't quite know where it was. They didn't see you necessarily. They saw, like, obviously just groups of individuals in the center court because they couldn't quite see over the banisters. They had, in their panic to look for the target, tried to get better angles into the center court. And then the lights go out. And in the darkness, you see probably, like, almost right in front of you, not where the person was, but almost right in front of you, you see the staccato rhythm, the report of firearms coming off at varying degrees and angles that it seems almost like with a sort of like strange rhythm to it. You hear bullets whizzing by you, but not at you. You hear panic set in as automatic fire goes spraying over. You probably, like, do you duck or do you get down or, like, do you try to take
I'm going to
cover?
use this moment of confusion and try and head towards the exit.
Okay, so you try to, like, okay, you're all right, and you start.
I know, like, calm and
Yeah.
composed. Like, I'm gonna keep firing or pointing the weapon towards the guy.
Okay.
And then back out into wherever the exit backs out into.
Okay. And as you, like, get to the farthest front, it's difficult to see. It's just a black upon black right in here. It's dark. It's, because it seems as though when the lights went out, like all the lights went out, including the ones in the hallway. The entire building just went dark. And there's gunfire going off over your head. You hear and you hear a ta 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 as, like, from the source it was. And then you hear the click of empty magazines. You hear guns hit the floor, bodies hit the floor, and then the staccato rhythm catches up again. And by the time you get to the other side, the gunfire, which has kind of moved during the course of this little conflict, has stopped. You hear nothing. Then the court has gone completely silent. You hear a shell casing still rolling around on the bathroom floor, and then the lights mysteriously return. And standing probably about 20 feet from you, surrounded by corpses, is a figure holding 2 pistols, and at his feet are 2 other pistols, which he must have dropped during the thing. He, what do you look like, Hannibal?
I look somewhat European. Based on the clothes, you would think that it's a mixture of Americanized European clothing, brands that aren't quite from the U.S. The leather jacket seems fresh, though, like it's something that was just bought. It still has that sheen and shine to it. But the rest of his clothes seem well worn. They have a sort of tactical fit to him, as though he has worn them specifically to either blend into crowds and or to perform presumably tasks similar to this. His features are dark, and even though the lights are present in the room, there seems to be this almost haze of shadow sort of licking at him whether it be like the way that he's standing or the way that he holds himself. There's this slight bit of contrast always, as though the light just can't quite hit him perfectly to illuminate his full face or his full frame or whatever the case may be.
Hannibal, you are
And
standing there looking at this individual who is holding a rifle, like a semi-automatic rifle. What do you look like, Charlie?
Charlie is tall, slender, and blonde. His hair is slicked back in kind of looks like he was rushed. But other than that, he is wearing a pretty fine suit. He has blue eyes, rather pale. Yeah. He does seem to be well-to-do.
Does he still wear the pin?
The pin?
The white rabbit pin that you were given.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a dead.
Hannibal. Oh, go ahead.
There's a dead silence as you two are staring at each other. I just want to there's a moment that sets in that for both of you. Go on.
Hannibal checks his guns to see if they're completely empty. You said that there was one remaining guard, Doug, that was standing near this man? Or is it that he has fallen as well and Charlie is the one holding his weapon?
Yeah, he's holding his weapon. He's holding his rifle. The man he took the rifle from is lying dead at your feet.
Okay, so he's also okay. I was just checking. So Hannibal checks his weapons, checking to see how much ammo's in them very quickly. He then stows the weapons back on himself. He picks up the extra guns, shoving them quickly into pockets. He looks around for loose magazines that would fit his weapons with extra ammo in them on the bodies of the people. The entire time, not really looking over at Charlie.
Charlie is very, very confused, and so he's going to continue his exit strategy.
Okay. Are you just running, or are you just walking?
Whatever this is, I don't want to stay around to find out.
Okay. So you have a. I wouldn't say you're sprinting anymore. You don't.
No, I'm not sprinting.
You don't get the.
Obviously, whoever this guy is doesn't view me as the target. Maybe he does. Maybe he just enjoys the chase. But either way,
yeah, you don't.
He didn't seem like much of a threat to my immediate well-being. So
no, he's had a decently. It occurs to you that he's in the moment that kind of seemed like a prolonged moment after the lights went on. You guys were both assessing each other and looking at each other.
He had every opportunity to shoot.
Exactly, and not only that, but he seems concerned perhaps with you, but not you are. He's something he's going to you don't get that impression. He's just kind of moving around.
Yeah, Doug, had I seen the pin on his lapel?
Yes, you did.
I was able to see it from that distance. Okay, then yeah. Then as I said,
it's shiny. It has an inset diamond on it. So it's
after I do that, as Charlie goes heading out the door, I'm going to follow him.
Okay.
You guys.
I'm not running after him, by the way. I'm just sort of as I said, I'm gathering those things and then I'm just walking that same direction.
So Charlie, you reach the door and exit, and you open them up. There's a courtyard that like a tennis court and things like that. It's wide open. There's tennis courts. You see that there's other like large areas where people might play different types of sports or racquetball or whatever people do at gyms.
How far out does it go?
It encompasses most of the block.
Okay.
You see that there the high gate with the that is there to keep people out. Maybe like it has a mesh on it. It has an exit at the end, like rather large exit. It's gate. It's pretty far distance because you have to walk through the little like cages and things, to get there. There is a walkway that leads there, but it kind of leads you around.
I'm going to drop mag, clear the chamber, and drop the weapon, and then run. Okay, so you stand, drop the mag, or you clear the chamber, you drop the mag. Are you how skilled is Charlie with weapons, like firearms specifically?
Out of high school, he served in the military.
Okay, so drop 7. You start running. You're about 10 or 15 feet, because it was pretty short distance after the doors that you did all these things. You do hear the doors open. You do see the individual running, Hannibal, as you exit.
Is he running like towards the road?
He looks like he's running towards the exit, which would be presumably the only way. The exit kind of has a walkway that leads around, or you can go through the tennis courts and things like that.
Okay. But it doesn't look like it leads to an exterior road or anything like that.
It leads out into, there's like another like sort of alleyway, and you see the like a building, like a short like 1-story building that looks to be some sort of, well, you don't really know because it's the back of the building, so it's
sure. I'll try to keep him in my view.
Okay.
But I'm going to head back to my car and hop in it and then basically follow him in the car to the best of my ability.
Okay, so Charlie runs out into the alleyway. Or, well, you get out into the alleyway. What do you do? Like, essentially, you're at the exit. You're standing in the middle of an alleyway.
Was my vehicle functional after the accident, or was it just?
Well, it was more or less when it did this like sort of crazy thing, and it kind of landed on its side. So no,
Okay.
You might be able to flip it back over and drive it. I don't know, but it definitely wasn't upright. The front end, you don't know how bad it hit you from the front though. So whether or not the car is actually still able to be driven if you were to get it upright. You don't know. So
I'm gonna continue on.
Okay, which way you're gonna go? Because you're standing in an alleyway. There's left or right. Right goes out to the road. Down the block, of course, but out to the road that you had turned off the freeway from.
I'm gonna go right.
Okay.
Because that doesn't lead towards the scene.
Okay, so you go right, and so back out to the road, and then so you can come out and you see the end the end of the block. You see the off ramp. You see your car. You see now an empty van. And the other car that had hit you down the way off to your right, because you basically did one of these things, and see yourself again. You also see your car and stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
You do notice that there is another car parked out front, which is now turning around. Right.
Okay, I'm ducking back into the alley and I'm going the other way.
Okay, so you start running the other way. As you get to the end of the alleyway, you notice, well, Hannibal, you turn around the car,
your ability to see in the darkness. You can plainly see through the fence lines. Charlie running down the alleyway.
Yeah. I also have Auspex, if I remember right.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember which of the first powers I have, though. I can double check.
Double check.
Oh, I have the sense the unseen. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can see hidden things.
Yes. But it's not heightened senses. I
Yeah.
couldn't.
But you have
I'm still adjusting to 5e.
You can just see the person. It's still a difference.
Sure.
You don't notice anything.
Sure.
He's not hiding supernaturally or anything like that. But
yeah,
you could definitely don't. The darkness is not cloaking him because you have the ability to see darkness.
Yeah. When I see him take off the other way,
Mhm.
I remember is what you said. I'm going to drive around and basically, in a sense, try to cut him off, but not in like an aggressive way. I'm just going to sort of be waiting there with the window rolled down, facing towards him when he like comes out of the alley, kind of a thing.
Okay, so you turn the car around, or you turn the car around, you see him drive off, or you'll run down the alleyway, and you go around the block to try to catch him, but not in your aggressive way. You come around the
I'm not trying to be like, like.
You come around the block. Charlie's pretty fit. He's pretty good runner. But so you have to, in order to catch him, you come around pretty quickly.
Sure.
Right. But then you like slow it down. You're not like speeding around the corner or anything like that.
Yeah.
You do see him off in the distance as he's coming out of the alleyway. In front of the car, you do see the car swivel around. What do you do, Charlie? It doesn't seem to be like speeding around, like I said, or doing like a, it's not Fast and Furious or anything like that,
Are there any other people on the street?
No. The street it's like the middle of the night. It's like 3 a.m. and this is definitely like one of the shadiest parts of town. So it is like just empty. Off in the very distance, you could kind of start seeing a car, but that's like distant because you could see the headlights and that's about it. And there's the freeway, obviously, but like
I guess Charlie's just gonna keep walking until.
Okay, so are you gonna walk?
Well, like he sees a car who was over by the other cars that were there with men who wanted to jack him up.
Mm-hmm. Now, mind you did not.
And
see
now that car's following him.
I want to note that car was not there when you had gone into the building. It was only the car that had hit you, right?
And the van.
Which had come out of nowhere, right? Because you were looking at the car you were looking at whatever was following you in the lane. And then there was a van that pulled up after that. So this is a different car from, you don't know where this car came from, essentially. That's what I'm saying.
But he is right. It was in front of the gym.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
And I'm explaining from Charlie's perspective, this is another car that's shown up.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Probably more guys. So
sure.
He's going to, like at this point, running's not going to get him anywhere. He's going to walk as casually as possible in whatever street lights there are.
Okay.
He's going to try to be as noticeable as possible to anyone who might possibly wake up and happen to have a phone camera.
Or have heard all the gunshots.
Yep.
Yep.
You start walking down the side of the street. Just taking a stroll. You start kind of observing your territory or your surroundings. You see like the rows of businesses on this side of the street. There's obviously looks like a much more main thoroughfare than the other street. They're cracked old concrete buildings, glass fronts, storefronts that have cages pulled over them. There's graffiti It looks like the city has this side of the sidewalk has not been upkept at all. You see old burned out shells of buildings that have been just kind of like left off in the distance ahead of you. I assume, are you walking away from the car or towards the car? Because remember, it swung around, so it was on one side.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to understand. Is he walking on the same side of the road that I'm driving on, or is he walking on the opposite side of the road?
He would probably, if he walks away from you, or they usually come around, yeah, he would probably be on the opposite side of the road.
Okay, cool.
Going away from the gym, away from the direction of the freeway.
Yeah, you're just walking around, okay? Okay, are you doing anything else while you're walking? Because it's the middle of the night, all these businesses look closed.
He will call up the 911.
Sure.
And he will say, "I would like to report a theft."
Okay. You get the 911 operator. The 911 operator is, asks you what the emergency is. You respond with a theft.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. Okay. And they ask you, can you describe the people who stole the car? Did you see them? Or, what's your location?
Lots of men with tactical vests.
Okay. Lots of men with tactical vests. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll be, where in your location is, and you'll...
I would give them, like, the last known heading was the on-ramp for the freeway. Because that's where I would probably last.
You can see a street sign as you start. Like, you can look back and easily see the street sign.
I won't tell them where to find the car. I'll just tell them that the last place I saw it.
I see.
Was getting onto the freeway.
Gotcha.
Near where I used to live.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's on the other side of town. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You notice Hannibal that he's walking calmly. He's on the opposite side of the road. He looks to reach in his pocket, and he seems to pull out his phone. And he's
I'll wait till he gets to like a crosswalk or something where he stops, and then I'll make sure to pull up to that crosswalk and also be stopped to where he's like right, to the side of me, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and you do notice him, but do you shoot a glance at his way or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna roll down the window of the vehicle, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey."
I'll kind of look at him. Does he look like he has tactical vest on, or is it the same guy I saw in the back?
It's the same guy you saw in the
Okay, so, have I finished up on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to where was I'm gonna ghost dial Helen.
You're gonna what? Excuse me?
Ghost dial her.
Okay.
Basically speed dial, and I'm gonna put it in my pocket.
Okay.
And hello, can I help you with something?
Is he
over
saying
at him?
Oh, at him.
Yeah, over at Hannibal.
You seem like you need a ride.
Yeah, maybe a ride would be good. Kind of. Who are you?
Hop in. And then I'll raise the window.
I'll hop in the passenger side of the car. Kind of reluctant. He definitely tries to keep kind of to the side somewhat.
Sure.
He does look around. He looks to see if if there are any other individuals in the car, in the back seat or anything.
It looks like there was probably a case in the back seat that is open now, or at least partially open, and it had some foam in it, like it would have been holding or carrying weapons in it.
It occurs to you, Hannibal, by the way, that and now that you have a sort of a moment to think, you know, you feel much more hungry now. You feel like thirst sort of edging its way up to the point of your lips. Not aimed at Charlie or anything like that. Just
Sure.
you did expend quite a bit of effort in your your encounter, and that gnawing in you is getting.
Sure. I'll try to like brush it off as best as I can.
Yeah, it's at a manageable point right now.
Okay. Once he gets in and shuts the door, puts his seatbelt on, etc., Hannibal will start driving towards the river.
Okay.
He'll speak towards Charlie, but not really take his eyes off the road. You also realize that at this point he'll start driving a little faster. Because at this point now he's trying to create distance between where they were and what was going on. He's also not aware of who else is coming for Charlie. Right. So he's driving much faster than he was. Trying to abide by speed limits, etc., but still pushing it.
It seems on this side of town you don't really see any traffic cops.
Okay.
You as you start driving through town at this late at night, you also are not extremely familiar. It's been notoriety, always known as the poorest part of town, the worst part of town, the Port District. It kind of brushes up against the river. There's older buildings that you start seeing as you start driving in towards the river, back the way. Are you going back across the bridge, or are you just going up to the riverfront?
Wait, so which side of the river are we on right now?
You're on the east. You're on the eastern side of the city.
Oh, are we?
Mhm.
Okay. I thought that we hadn't crossed that threshold yet.
No.
I thought we were still on the other side of the city.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will not be heading towards the river then.
Okay.
I will be heading deeper into this territory towards whatever I presume a city-esque place would be at this hour. You know, like these are obviously neighborhoods where there's crime and things like that, but I'm looking for the area of town where there would actually be like a bar or something, right? Some place that's open, that's a business that we can go and sit, a public space, that sort of thing. And then quickly though, once Charlie sits down in the car, the first thing that Hannibal will say to him as they start driving is he'll be like, if you have a phone or a tablet or anything electronic like that, I would throw it out the window right now.
And why is that?
Because the people that are looking for you tracked you somehow. How do you think that was? And they'll continue to track you no matter where you go. They'll find you. So you have to erase your existence, your trail. Get rid of phones, get rid of tablets. Don't keep anything that has your name attached to it, any of your identity, your previous identity. Don't use cards. I have a few extra burner phones. I can give you one for now. I'm not exactly sure where I'm supposed to take you at this point.
Charlie will take out his phone. He will close out the call to Helen. And then he will remove the SD card from his phone
Mm-hmm.
and he'll crush it.
Okay.
Just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Hannibal will point into the back seat, and you'll see that there's like a bag there, and he'll
Mhm.
say inside that bag is a couple of burner phones. If you could do me a favor while I'm driving, just because I don't know how quickly we're going to have to escalate, grab one of those phones for me and send a text if you would.
Grab one of the phones.
Send a text to this number specifically, 555-467-8282. Have the text read as I say, if you could. Sun sets in the west and rises in the east, he remarked by the river. And then put a hash mark, Johnny.
Charlie's gonna make a mental note of this,
Okay. You're pretty good
including
with
the number.
You're really good with numbers. You're pretty mentally there, so you can, with effort, with a conscious effort, you can remember the number, submit it to your memory, and you type the text. Are you altering it, or are you just
No, I'm gonna word for word.
okay?
I'll even glance over to make sure, like before he sends it. Just kind of check.
Mhm.
Okay.
After a couple moments, the car now is driving away from the part of town you were on, which was the port district. And you had just come off the bridge into that side of town, so it kind of rings the side of the river. It goes the landscape kind of goes gradually uphill, but not as steep as on the western side of the river, where there's like larger buildings and nicer sort of things. This seems to turn into kind of a slow incline, actually headed towards the area of town where the hospital is. But you see brick buildings that have been brick and stone buildings that have been sitting there for probably 100 years, of varying sizes, sometimes 10 or 20 stories, bleed away into housing that has looked rerun down or abandoned altogether. Shades are drawn. There's gates on all of the doors. Cars ring the sides of the roads. No one's out. And even if anybody is awake, they wouldn't be looking out their windows. You type the text message. A couple moments later, a return message pops up. One new message. Charlie, do you check
Okay.
it?
Yep.
Rabbits together run together. See you tomorrow night.
Does Charlie read the message out loud?
Yeah.
And it has like a little smiley face emoji. It's at that touch. Just gonna add that touch.
Sure.
Refresh my memory, Doug. What was her name again? I know I committed that to memory the last time in the intro scene.
Okay. Irina.
Irina. I will kind of mutter her name under my breath as I put two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
You met her?
Once.
Did she seem happy?
Actually, yes.
It's good to hear. What did she talk to you about?
How interesting my situation was.
She likes watching. I presume at this time you've probably put together who I am.
Are you Irina's?
She would never publicly admit it, but she does refer to me as her rabbit occasionally. Usually only to those that she shows an interest in.
Then I take it by the incredible display of skill back there that you're not just some property. You are her child.
As I said, such things can't be spoken of in public, but...
So, is there something that I should be aware of as far as what Irina has in store for me? I assume that's who we're going to meet.
As is her way, she often doesn't speak of such things. But, I presume she'll send someone. Tomorrow night, it would seem. She might show up herself. I'm unsure of how far she can move around, as it would be.
Well, I am certainly glad at this point that I met her.
Your name is Charlie, yes?
Yes.
Do you prefer Charlie or Charles?
I prefer Charlie.
Charlie. You can call me Hannibal.
That's an interesting name.
It was the name my sire gave me. I hope you understand that this information you now have is very personal, and also in a way gives you leverage.
Information is power.
I would hope that me now having done a service for you, that I can presume that the information you now have will stay secret.
You don't have to worry about me spoiling any of the details of your patronage. I take it you understand who my sire is, though.
No.
Well, my sire is Helen Hargrave. I don't know if that name rings a bell for you.
It does not.
But my predicament is one of controversy among those known as the Tower.
I've heard of the tower, yes.
I'm unsure why.
Unsure why, what?
Why such an interest
who?
Well, I've done things to very powerful people, or done things to very powerful and influential people could possibly be considered upset by. But this is the first time that I've ever had an attempt on my life made.
Perhaps it is because they do not fear who your sire is. Perhaps it is because they know that this is one of the few moments in which you would be weak. They wish to prey upon you.
Well, hopefully we can correct that situation.
For now, as long as that pen remains on your lapel, I will ensure that no more threats happen to your life.
He's been driving for quite a while now. Since the return text, did you change the course of your journey?
All she had said was, "See you tomorrow night." Yes. Doug. That's me.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I thought you were talking in character. Sorry.
Sorry, it's fine.
Yeah.
She hadn't sent any other directions or anything like that.
No, just say see you tomorrow night. She said,
then my course remains the same.
Okay.
I want to go to someplace public.
Okay.
Someplace that's still open. Someplace that attention will be drawn to us.
Okay. There are. It is a city. You're currently in the part of town where there's like a lot of residential and closed businesses and that sort of thing. Because of the condition, the societal conditions. Excuse me. But there are several places that you could drive a distance to. It'd probably take you maybe about an hour to get to a good restaurant or something like that. There is the hospital. It's always open, obviously.
I don't see the hospital being a viable option because it would be weird for two guys to just be hanging out there.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a place where we don't draw attention.
Is that the hospital in which I work?
Yes. But Hannibal, you could probably find I'm just trying to think of places that are open at night. I should probably know this, being a vampire storyteller. I random location.
Being a big city, I just
spaced
bars or something.
Yeah, you can find a bar. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
There you go, bars. There's a bar. You actually drive right by one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's not like a complete dive bar. I'm not looking for something that's super divey. Something where there will be other people.
It doesn't look run down. That's what you're asking. It's a bar. Okay. It has it looks to be, you don't see, you see, cars kind of parallel parked, along the sides. You see some people hanging outside, enjoying a cigarette or vaping. There's the small windows. It seems to be kind of inset into a larger building. With the rain coming down as stiffly as it is, it's not too occupied. And the people who are outside are kind of like underneath the thing and trying not to get rained on. Sure. But yeah, it doesn't look like a dive bar. It just looks like a some normal bar. It's not too nice.
I'll look over at Charlie and say, I was told that there is a faction of vampires that live on this part of town. Are you aware of anything about them?
What part of town are we in?
You're on the east side of town, on the other side of the river.
So we're not in the we're not in the tower's territory.
No. You're in.
Perhaps the faction that you're referring to is known as the Anarchs?
Perhaps. I'm not familiar with it at all.
I'm not familiar with much about them either.
You at least know their name. That's something more to go on, I would think.
I'm even less so familiar with their territories, what territories they might hold.
I was told this side of the river was theirs. And correct me if I'm wrong, Doug. Wasn't I told a term of their ruler or something?
Yes, you remember.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I remember that. It was the Red Queen, correct? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay, just making sure that I did remember that correctly. So I was told about the term the Red Queen. My hope, so that you're aware, Doug, is that by going to a public space, that we perhaps might happen upon another kindred or something of that variety. And then the hope would be to take them aside, perhaps, and mention the Red Queen as like this is who we're looking for. You know, we're young kindred. We don't.
From
really
what
know
little you know of city vampires here, it does seem like it tracks based upon your past experiences that you would perhaps find somebody who would probably know more. Although you do run the risk of perhaps stepping on somebody's territory.
Which is why I don't plan to feed necessarily. I mean, Charlie's their own person, so if they choose to feed, that's their choice. But I'll do what I can to keep them safe, even if they do.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you managed to find a parking spot. By the way, is actually really tough. But you do end up finding one. It's like a little paid parking thing. You have to get a little temporary card and stuff. And then you manage to, it's situated about half a block away from the bar.
Sure.
Do you just walk out there? Are you taking any precautions or doing anything before you enter?
Once we park, I get out of the driver's seat. Keys in the pocket, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I open up the passenger side door opposite, right behind where I was sitting. I pull the case towards me and I start unloading all the extra weapons and things like that I'd had on me into the case. I'm going to keep a single weapon concealed on my person with one additional clip for it. That's it. Just in case. But otherwise, the rest of the weapons are being put away in cases, stowed, and set into the car.
You take the things out of you, like the straps and the things that you were holding them in, and all that kind of stuff. You get it nice and stowed. I imagine you would cover it or something like that to try to keep passers by.
That's the idea.
Kind of thing.
Before we walk in, though, I'll actually look at Charlie. Because, I'll maybe have that moment where I'm like, maybe I should offer a weapon to Charlie. Maybe it'll feel better. Do you wish to carry a weapon? Would that make you feel more comfortable, or would you prefer not?
I prefer not having a weapon.
That's fine. Okay. And then I'll finish putting it all away, covering it up, that sort of thing.
Okay. So, you and Charlie stroll into a bar. So as two vampires enter a bar.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like either really like a wonderful beginning to
you walk in.
Terrible joke.
Gotta have jokes, man. Anyway, you walk into the bar. It's not seedy. It's darkly lit. You notice that there is a kind of an old jukebox playing some song from the 90s that you don't recognize, but it's just like you know it's from the 90s,
Sure.
There's a single bar that wraps around in an L shape. It's very squat, sort of ceiling, very low hanging. There's a sort of wood flooring that's kind of seen better days. The chairs and tables and everything are pretty clean. It's not too entirely populated in here. You notice that there's a party of people in the back, sort of just basically getting really, really rowdy.
Sure.
You know, because it's kind of a big space so they can. Like, hey, you know, but like, there's not a whole lot of momentum. So it looks like they're trying too hard to drink and have fun because, you know, they went to the bar and it was empty on a rainy night.
Sure, yeah.
You do notice the bartender is talking to two individuals at the countertop, or the counter. And other than that, you see a person all the way at the end who draws your attention. They seem to be wearing they're wearing a leather jacket similar to yours, but it's much more beaten.
Sure.
You notice they're trying their best to cover their face. They got like a hat on, like sort of like a cowboy hat, but not, I don't know, hat styles. So it's, you know, it's kind of like a cowboy hat. Reminds you of that.
Sure.
Beat up jeans. They have some sort of like sort of large shirt with collars, or maybe their jacket has like an interior liner that has the collars kind of pulled up. They seem to be nursing a full beer,
Okay.
that they have not touched. And you know, other than that, there's a couple people outside. That's about pretty much the extent of it.
We'll grab a booth where we can see the exits and entrances pretty well, with our where we don't have our backs like to a window or something like that.
Sure. Bartender walks up to you. They just got like a t-shirt on, the band logo on it, and they're fairly clean, you know, like just seems like a pretty trimmed person. Comes up to you, hey, what can I get you?
I'll have a Corona.
Okay. What, Corona? Oh, 2 Coronas. Okay, come right. Comes back. Hands you 2 bottles. We don't got on tap, so.
Sure.
Then he goes right back to walking over to 2 people he's talking to. A woman and a man. Looks like a couple.
I'm going to try and sense the unseen if I can.
Sure.
See if there's
You extend.
anything.
You extend.
I'll do the
your
same.
Oh, you look around.
Kinda.
So you guys are like,
Kinda.
start looking around. You guys both extend your sight, eerily at the same time without any coordination. You press beyond the veil of what is to see what was. And you notice over in the corner, standing just behind the man, the person that you didn't see there before. Looks like a small, scrawny figure. Got a pockmarked face, withdrawn skin, emancipated, standing very still, almost in a manner that is pensive and furtively looking at the person sitting at the counter.
Do they have a face like they mean them harm? Or is it more of like almost submissive?
They look more, I would say, submissive, if you're going to use the word like that
Okay,
word,
so
you know.
it's not like
It's
they're-
more
they're
pensive, like
aggressive.
worried, like
Worried. Okay,
yeah,
pensive
more like
and worried. Okay,
pensive and
I
worried.
wasn't sure if like it seemed like they were like aggressing on the person.
No, you don't get really a sense of like any sort of relationship between the two necessarily. Just one person is looking at the other. and they're looking very pensive and worried. They seem to be glancing around. They do glance across your way, and then
I will notice them,
mhm.
make eye contact, like I'm looking right at them for a second, and then just give a quick nod, and then break eye contact away from them.
You notice they do catch it.
Mhm.
Charlie, you also see this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you do while between the quick nod? You do notice that, like,
Do
also
they-
Hannibal notices. You both goes, like, do you see that? You know, like,
Do they look to be like one of the visibly distinguished clans?
you have never seen them before. You've heard stories of this clan. They are physically disgusting. They are ugly. The rats, as they once were known. Your sire always spoke of them in a forlorn and almost regretful manner, since they have seemed to fallen out of grace with the tower. Not completely leaving, of course, but not all there. Not into the membership that they once were. But yes, you think that this might be one.
Just look for a moment, almost as if like my curiosity is taking over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just, under my breath, if it seems like he's going to stare too long, I'll just kind of mutter under my breath. He'll be like, it's not polite to stare.
And then I will just kind of almost give a nod, and then immediately start looking about at the exits and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of.
Okay. You notice that the person, when you gave them that knowing wink, Hannibal, or that knowing nod that you gave them, that the hidden individual did see you, and looks at you like, gives you that sideways glance, and then confirming almost mentally that their set perceptions are not fooling them, that you are looking at them.
Yeah.
And then leans over very slowly to the individual at the bar, and you see their mouth moving in a very, very low whisper that is being drowned out by the horrible 90s music.
Just a quick check-in with you, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with Nosferatu, correct?
Yes.
From my travels and things. Okay, just
Yes.
making sure. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, the individual in the cowboy hat glances over at you, looks back the other way. You see that they're talking over their shoulder, but not at like, just kind of like, I don't know where I'm where the object of my communication is going. And then pushes himself off the bar, turns around and walks up to you, and sits down. The individual has kind of a longer beard. He's got teeth that are very canine-esque, sort of look to them, although hidden underneath his facial hair. He looks like his skin has seen better days. It's got some scars and those sorts of things. Sits down. He's wearing now that you see the entire body, he's wearing a flannel,
Sure.
and a torn, just kind of dirty shirt, with stains on it and that sort of thing. Sits down without asking, just flips around the tape thing. Sits down. He's like, You notice the hidden individual stays where they're at and is now
Okay.
just kind of looking around the room in a guarding manner.
Sure.
Who are you?
I'm Hannibal. This is Charlie. We're new in town.
You're new in town.
Yes.
You got eyes for my friend over there.
I couldn't think of a better way to let you know we are what we are.
Gotcha. What'd you say his name was again? What's your name? Looks over at Charlie.
Charlie.
New in town, huh?
Yes, I'm new in town.
What about you? Charlie.
I've been in town for a while.
Oh, have you? What brings you here, Hannibal?
Me and Charlie are old friends, and he decided that he needed a change of scenery. Wanted to move from one side of the river to the other side, so I was just lending him a hand. Figured I'd stop by and see what I can do. Moving a couch by yourself, can be pretty bothersome.
Yep. Didn't like the scenery, huh? Is that right, Charlie? Got tired of it?
Well, when you have so many assholes towering above you, kind of makes you want to go out to the plains, where you're the tallest thing other than the trees.
So you're looking to come across the river, huh? It happens. So what you want out of me?
As I said, I'm new in town. I don't really know too many people, so I've heard some names and some things like that, and I just want to get pointed in the right direction, shall we say.
Gotcha.
Just to make sure I'm not stepping on anyone's toes or, grabbing a burger where I shouldn't, that kind of thing.
Pretty smart. Okay. Person who makes that call is Queen. Red Queen. She has little get-togethers. She gets a look at you and then makes a decision. I'm Dutch, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Dutch.
If you want introductions, show up. Warehouse, Port District 6, Madison. It has no trespassing signs. There's a hole in the fence. Don't let anybody see you coming in. Park somewhere else.
Can do.
So what are you gonna do for me if now that I'm giving you all this free directions?
Is there something I can do to help you out?
Things are looking a little lean here. I hear the storm's gonna be a bad one. Business is always slow here when there's storms. I imagine people who move furniture probably also had to move brought, you know, nuts and berries you bring on when you take a walk, wooden trail, you know, picnic stuff. Got a snack.
Sure.
Can help me out a little bit, so I'm not feeding off of Diane over there.
You're looking to have a party here, and you want us to invite people?
Yeah, one or two. Yeah, just a little snack.
You want this tonight or tomorrow night?
Nah, I already fed tonight.
Okay. I think we can arrange something. We'll find some friends, you know, hit the town and bring them by. That sound good?
Yeah.
Do you have a particular flavor?
No. I got my, beggars can't be choosers. Besides, I ain't no Ventru. Oh, you don't have to
Luckier
worry.
than I am.
You don't have to worry about Diane and Rossi over there, and those guys are shit-faced.
This is your place, I presume.
Yeah?
Well, I appreciate you letting us come inside.
If you would have poached, then I wouldn't have been as friendly, but at least you have a common courtesy to say hi.
Of course.
And besides, I heard about, I hear things.
Sure.
So, I don't know who you are, but if you are who I may think you are, then it has to be friendly.
I like friends. Is it gonna be a problem?
No, I just don't want to. I'd much rather help you, pass you along, get something out of the deal. I would mostly see to my own. Me and Scratches back there. We don't get involved too much. You gotta be careful around here, by the way. Not everybody's gonna be friendly. Everybody wants something else. It's kind of a dog-eat-dog part of town.
Sure.
But if the Queen likes you, she might give you a patch. Don't piss her off, though.
Appreciate the words of encouragement. I'll make sure to bring some friends by tomorrow night. Is there a place in town where, you know, if we want to see the sights and grab a bite to eat, we can safely do so and not piss on anyone's shoes?
Not to my knowledge. Everything over here are scraps and feeding frenzy. Unless you have a hookup with a delivery service, of course. But
I'll keep that in mind then.
north side of the Port District, on top of the hill. People up there have gotten a little lazy. They don't watch over their patch too much. I got a feel. Word is that they might be losing it soon. You might be able to poach something there. Low risk. Lots of people too. all times of the night. The northern end of the port district, by the way, where the basically river opens up into the ocean, and at the top of it, there's a hill in the very northwestern part of the east side of the river. There's a hill that overlooks, and at the top of it is the hospital and the surrounding areas, little medical facilities and residences and stuff like that. A little bit more business and traffic and things like that.
You said you heard things.
Yeah.
You're aware of why Charlie is moving?
I heard a rumor. I don't know if I like repeating rumors.
That's fair. I'm not sure whose house it might have been in front of, but let's just say while Charlie was moving, not to put words into his mouth, but while Charlie was moving, some uninvited guests showed up to the moving party. And
It happens.
It was on this side of the river, though. I thought it was strange.
You know, well, you would think that we wouldn't let too many people over here. The truth is, Queen doesn't want us starting shit unless it's really important. Most of us don't really care anymore anyway. We used to, but, you know. Flames die. Now everybody's just more or less out for themselves. But we don't know if somebody did notice, you might not hear about it right away. And as far as who would take a hit, our friend Charlie here, Mr. Charlie. Well, you come and he looks directly at Charlie, because he's kind of more or less been talking to you, so he's had his gaze pretty much fixed on you the entire time.
Sure.
He looks over at Charlie. You come from the tower. If the rumor I heard was true, little birdie told me that you might be connected. And if you owe anything, tower, all those motherfuckers over there are backstabbers.
So I'm coming to see.
You're lucky, kid. You're lucky. Well, for right now anyway. If Red Queen don't like you, then, well, you're kind of fucked.
Well, let's hope she likes me.
Yeah, you never know with her. There's a little patch, a little small place. You might be able to get in a bite to eat before, you know, bedtime.
Where's that?
It's a little corner joint. It's a crack house. Yeah. A couple people hang out in there, I hear. Deal, that sort of thing. Mostly they go and try to get drug seekers to go in and get, you know, Vicodin and shit like that, you know, whatever they're hooked on at the moment. They'll go in and go to the hospital, try to get themselves admitted for a day or two, get out, kicked out, go live into the place a couple blocks down the road. I haven't heard of anybody feeding off of those people. Like I said, the word is that they got lazy.
You had said north side of the port district was also where these lazy people are.
Yeah, that's where we want a place. I wouldn't wander around the place for too long, because it's low risk, but there's still risk, right? But if
So
you're
it's
looking,
probably not a good place to hang our hat for the night, as it would be.
no, that you're gonna have to get inventive. Don't know how to bury yourself, do you? Like the mole man trick. Never mind. You could always roll into a hotel. Black plastic bags and duct tape go a long way.
It's true.
There's lots of shitty motels in this side of town, let me tell you.
Well, Dutch, I am very appreciative of your help. And I will make sure to bring some friends by tomorrow night.
Okay.
Until then, we'll get out of your space.
He gets up, using both hands to just kind of push himself up. Gives you a nod, looks at Charlie. Good luck. Always like a good survivor. Spins the chair around with one hand, puts it back in the place. Friends walks back to the bar, sits down. The bartender has paid you no attention at all. People over in the corner, by the time you end your conversation, more or less have drifted off. There's a couple, like 2 or 3 there's like 3 people still sitting there. They're deeply intoxicated. Looks like their friends have kind of left them. People who are vaping and smoking outside kind of seem to have abandoned the idea of returning back into the bar as the weather has gotten much harsher. You now hear the wind sort of starting to make its report against the window. Yeah, you're left to your devices as you walk back to your car, I'm assuming.
Yep. As we're heading out the door, I'll look over at Charlie and be like, you seem like you handled yourself pretty well in the gym. You have some sort of training or something?
Military. After high school.
I see. So your choice to not carry a firearm, that's a personal choice, not because of a lack of education.
For the same reason why I came home. Rather save lives.
I understand that. I want you to understand, though, something that needs to be on your mind constantly is that, and by this point, we're getting in the car and shutting the doors so that we're presumably alone.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that person in there was very kind to us, there's no doubt in my mind that he's now debating whether or not selling you out for his next meal ticket is worth it. He's going to ask himself long and hard, what could he gain if he gives us up? And what does he have to gain if he doesn't? I just want you to be ready for it. If his decision is to give us up, that means it's going to be a really long night.
Well, you said you were low on A little low on fuel. I might know how to settle that.
How's that?
Hospital a little bit ways back.
It's much harder to rob a hospital than you would think. I don't know if that's what we should be trying to do.
I'm the director.
Well, that's a very different story. I'll let you lead the way then. And we'll start up the car and start heading that direction.
As you turn the car around, the wind picks up. The rain is now in full effect, creating a thick haze of moisture and water raining from the sky, sort of thing. You can barely see the city streets as the rain comes down so thick, kind of encompassing both you and Hannibal in a sort of blanket of noise, making it seem even more like the world outside you is disconnected to the interesting relationship. I don't know how to qualify it. That you guys have had, or that you guys have. You guys drive off into the city towards the direction of the hospital. Following the direction of Charlie, Hannibal drives into the night. And uncertain still, Charlie is about where his future will take him. I think it's a pretty good place right now.